Computer. All right, marketologists, we have another marketing strategy session, and today I have Dom with me. Dom Faussette has had a mass experience when it comes to marketing and just business in general. He has a very interesting life story as well, but we're going to get into marketing when it comes to branding, and how to create a good brand when you're getting out there and making an image of yourself to the eyes of your customers and clients. So Dom, thanks for coming on the show.
Sir, thank you for the invite. I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah. So, you've been doing business and marketing for a while, and, you've started off, in an exciting way. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Just high level overview. I am not a marketing firm. I'm not a brand, I'd say expert. I am an individual who knows how to brand himself, right? Eyes on product is what it's about. I'm prior military, ex-cop, spent 12, 13 years in the corporate space doing leadership development for different banks and financial institutions. And shortly, like towards the end of my career, I wrote a book. But what started, let's call it branding. I had a fairly decent sized team of people that reported to me, and I couldn't keep them off their cell phones. And I realized that they were on this platform called Instagram. And I didn't have social media at the time. This was about 7 years ago. I did not have social media, but I said, you know what, let me start using this Instagram thing. I'll start posting leadership videos, just 60-second videos that I just did on my way into work every morning. Put my camera in my truck. The noise was garbage. The video quality was garbage, but it's what I did because I wanted to have a stronger connection with my employees. And if I can't beat them, join them, right? It's easier for 20 people to find a new leader. It's hard for a new leader to find 20 new people. So I did that. And the daily videos just kind of sprouted. They got, they grew some wings. And I wrote a book called Think, React, Lead, When Success and Accomplishments Aren't Enough. And one of the adages that I used to use with myself and my team was think as an executive, react like a soldier, and lead. And that's how we came up with Think, React, Lead. And then from there, I started a podcast, and I was interviewed a couple times on CBS and then NBC and then Fox. And these are local stations, but it's my boss came to me one day. He said, bro, I was in the shower and I had the TV on, and I heard you being interviewed on Fox. He said, have you ever considered like doing your own thing? I said, you know what? I never have. Like I traveled and spoke. I had corporate clients. Right up. Hold on 1 second. Stop. And I was like, you know what would it look like? Because I was already coaching executives, and I've always looked at time from a standpoint of, if you're going to ask me questions outside of work, I'm going to charge you. And if the questions you ask, my answers that I give you provide you with a better lifestyle, I'm going to charge you. So I got into coaching early on, and then I really looked into leaving. I really looked into doing my own thing. And I asked my dad, who's self-employed, I said, hey, I'm considering, so I was excited too. I'm considering, stepping out, owning my own business. And he said, look, if you can't handle your couple speaking engagements, your handful of clients, and your 40 to 50 hours worth of work per week, you'll never be able to handle being a millionaire. So I was like, wow, interesting. So I gave it 6 more months. But after 6 months, I left. And I didn't just leave. Like, I had clients, I had speaking engagements lined up. I already had a best-selling book. I was already being interviewed. I had a decent social media, like 2,000-3,000 followers at the time on Instagram. And I was building something. So that's kind of how all of this got started. And I've been on my own now for about 4.5 years.
Okay. Wow. See, you've had something very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. So first of all, I want to go all the way back. So your military and police experience gave you a vast amount of discipline. So you already had a vast amount of discipline in that aspect. But then you literally put into practice what people say that you should do as a great leader. A great leader learns how to follow. They learn how to follow and then lead versus dictate, basically. And then the other thing, your boss actually, instead of saying, hey, wait a minute, I see what you're doing, you need to stop that. You know, he encouraged you that you need to grow that. And you don't see that often. You know, usually you see bosses saying, oh, wait a minute, we see you on social again, you may be reprimanded. Or, you know, how is this? If you have time to do that, then you have more time to do what we're doing here.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's very interesting how your boss encouraged you to grow it. And then your dad giving you that great advice that, hey, you need to, you know, handle what you have here. If you can handle what you have here, then you can grow to handle bigger and better things. Sort of like the story of the guys with the talents, the one that buried it, the one that actually went out and did something with it. You know, it's like you got to handle what you already have before you can handle more.
Right.
And those are some great learning experiences that you had that we can learn from, you know, because a lot of times we think being a millionaire is just getting a lot of money and throwing money at it, you know, and it's more than that.
Right. You got you definitely got that right.
Yeah. And so it's so great too that you took a time to step back and say, okay, I'm going to take 6 months to think this over. I'm going to really dig into my heart, soul, and see, is this something I really want to pursue? Versus saying, oh, this is something I can make a lot of money in, I'm going to get the money, you know, instead of saying, you know, this is a lifestyle change. This is going to be something that's more than just money per se. This is going to change my whole entire life. So, you know, what helped you with changing that mindset or having, not changing, but just having that mindset to say, I'm going to take a real strategic and disciplined approach to this and not just chase the bag like everybody's saying right now?
I never focus on the money. And I've never put words like discipline or strategic or strategy in front of anything. By the time I was 11 in my parents' household, like I was not allowed to use the words I don't know. But I've always, if I got bored in a career, I just moved to something else. Obviously, the military 4 years, law enforcement 4 years. I worked in sales for about 4 years. Then I jumped into management. Then I jumped into leadership development. So I'm always trying stuff. And my resume is so dope. I have a nice resume. And worst case scenario, if this didn't work, I'll go back to get a 6-figure job. Like for me, that was my mindset. But I've never thought long about, man, should I do it? Should I not do it? No, I'm great at making decisions because there's no decision anybody watching or listening to this. There's no decisions that you're going to make that if you utterly fail, somebody's going to die.
Okay.
I think people put words like discipline in front of things, and they put words like strategy in front of things. You don't need a strategy. You don't need to be, discipline's nice, but what discipline to me versus what discipline to you is two different disciplines. My thing is, don't waste time. Like, just, you got a book, check. You have a social media following, check. You realize,
just do it. Just don't
like Nike says, right? Yeah. Just think, react, lead. Just go on and do it. And I think a lot of people, they look at things as work, which they should, but then they're disengaged by it because it actually is work. And it wears me out. It's tiring. It's too much work. Social media is the same way. Like, yeah, it's going to be work. Like, who told you, even if you have a job, your job's responsibility is not to make you happy. It's not your boss's responsibility to make you happy. It's not following my passion to speak on stages. Like, I change one life every day for the rest of my life. That's a mantra I use for self. But I'm a radio show host. I also have a podcast. I'm on NBC, Fox, CBS, right? And these things, they look cool by the time I post them on social media, but when you got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be in the newsroom at 6 a.m., or you got to work out, or you got to talk to your tailor before you go in, or somebody asks you to speak in Jamaica, but it's not a paid speaking engagement and you got to pay your way there. But the content
Yeah.
The video content is going to be dope. Yeah, I'm going to fly to Jamaica on a Wednesday, and I'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'll speak. I'll get the video content, get a bunch of content, come back, send it to my editor, and then people pay for your consistency. They pay for your discipline, but I don't think people need to lump words in front of a simple sentence like I want it. For me, I'm a speaker. I am a radio show host. I'm a voiceover actor. Like there's a lot of things I do for my brand. I put my handle on all of my vehicles, right? Okay. It's all of the things that people don't want to do. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn multiple times a day, people think, so I started this and I was 37. I'm 43 now. People think they got to hire somebody to do all this stuff. I was doing this before I heard it from Nipsey Hussle, but he learned how to do everything so that he knew what right looked like. And I think people, let me hire a VA. How many VAs you going to go through? You don't even know how to manage people. How are you going to hire a VA, right? You don't want to spend the 2 minutes it takes to put a post on your social media, right? You don't want to hire a coach. Most people are doing it the wrong way. They want people to pay them for their services, but they don't want to pay somebody else so they can skip to the front of the line of the learning curve. And that's what I did. My first coach, Henry Kaminsky, I think you interviewed him. I think that's how we connected.
Oh man, Henry's awesome. Yeah.
Right. He was my first coach. And he, I didn't start with a coach that was, $250 a month. I started with a coach that was, I've never spent that much money on a person.
Oh yeah. Ever. Henry knows his value, and he charges his value. So
he does.
Yeah.
He does. But my bad. I went on a tangent. Sorry about that.
No, it was a great tangent because what you said is so true. It's funny whenever I hire any type of people to assist me, I usually hire in a position with a skill that I already know. And I try to let them know up front, I know how to do this. I'm not hiring you to teach me how to do it. I am hiring you to be efficient, effective. Hopefully you are better at it than I am, hopefully, but I do know how to do it. I do know what good looks like. So when you start asking dumb questions, or you start billing for time that I'm like, it doesn't take that long to do that.
Right.
I know what good looks like. And that's so important when you're building your team, to at least know what good looks like. And then the second part is, like you said, don't overthink and just jump out there and do it.
Right.
I'm telling you, that is a problem that I have. I overthink it. I'm a strategist. I'm like, we have to come by this angle and this angle and this angle. Now, for my practice, for what I do, for what I offer, it makes sense for me and my client because I'm building a strategy for them.
Of course.
But for myself, it is poison because a one day task will take me a month to do for myself because I'm changing it over and over and over. And maybe this one, now I've got something that says post, like you said, on Instagram, takes 2 minutes to do. I done built out this strategy map that's massive, and it takes me a week to figure out if I've got all my touch points in order, all my emails in order after the fact, and so forth and so on. And really, every social post is not going to be that gangbuster. Just post something.
Yep.
Yeah. And my consistency, like you say, consistency is the key. All of a sudden, I haven't posted in a month. Why? Because I've been building out this beautiful strategy and haven't posted anything, So you're right. I mean, you got to just get out there and just start posting. And that's something that I have to learn for myself that I struggle with because, my followers will let you know. They'll see me post on a tangent, and all of a sudden I'll go silent for months. And it's really because I'm redesigning strategy around it. And so that's great advice. I mean, I think everybody needs to take that advice. So
I think when it comes to branding, this is kind of how I explain it to my clients when they come to me. Is if somebody gave you a billboard on a major freeway, just for free, would you use it? The answer is always yes. Okay. Would you put your face on it? They're like, yeah, I put my company, my face on it. Okay. Then why in your social media are you sharing posts? Like in my social media, I don't share. Like you will never, on Instagram specifically,
Yeah.
You'll 99% of the time, my face is there. Why? Because most people are the face of their company, whether they want to be or not, right? A
Yeah.
logo is not going to be your face. And the only time you won't see my face is if it's my wife's birthday, my son's accomplished something great. And those are one-offs. So
Yeah.
I don't share anybody's stuff unless they're a client that's paying me. Then and they've accomplished something great. I've shared it, but I'm sharing it in light of letting people know what I do. Right? It's a double-edged sword, or a two-way street, I should say. So everybody has access to free tools. Facebook, free tool. Instagram, free tool. LinkedIn and podcasting's free nowadays, right? And if you look at Instagram, when people are out and about and you run into somebody, if they don't ask you for your phone number, they're going to ask you for your Instagram. Yeah. And people don't ask for your Facebook because Instagram allows you to see in less than a second 12 boxes that represent that person's life, and your business is your life. Until you get to a point where you've got a much larger business. But I'm talking to people that, have 10 to 20 employees or less. But people go there, and when clients call me, during the consultation, I'll ask, one of the first three questions is what led you to work with me, or what led you to being interested in working with me. Mm-hmm. There's a million life coaches. There's 1,000 speakers. There's a bunch of radio show hosts. There's a lot of speaker coaches. But what they say is like your lifestyle. My wife and I race Ducatis. I go off-roading a lot with my Jeep Gladiator. I drive a Porsche 911 Turbo. But I strategically post all of this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. My clients ride motorcycles. My clients have nice cars. My clients like to camp and do off-road stuff. And they also say, you're on social media with your wife, and my wife is not a social media. She's not an influencer type person. She's an executive. So she don't really know all the rules to follow. So she's very raw when she comes on any videos that we do, but they see a dad, they see a husband, they see somebody who appears to have the balance, right? And that's what people want. They want to see that if I work with this guy, if I work with this lady, am I going to do they have the proof that they've done it? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no, they don't. And that's why people struggle getting clients. I don't have to market to people, but I'm marketing to people every single day. When I go to the gym, that logo in the back that you see on my step and repeat, like that's a cloth, the step and repeat. It's on my shirt, biggest day. It's on one of my motorcycles, biggest day. And when I go out, I usually will have that on, and people, hey, I've seen that before. So when it comes to branding yourself, I would say start doing videos. And that's where people struggle. They're like, well, I don't really have, I don't know what to say. I'm like, you've been in business too long. You've been on this earth too long to not know what to say. Right? Yeah. What are the words that inspire you? Use those same words. We all have a cell phone. We all have one of these right here. And the technology on these things are ridiculous. All you got to do is hold it out in front of you, do a quick little video. But check this out. When you do your videos, when you get over the discomfort of doing videos, whatever the reason is, you're probably judging yourself, or you're thinking, not you, but somebody's thinking that somebody's going to judge them. Yeah, somebody's going to judge you. But the way you look on a video is the exact same way you look in Target. It's the way you look in the mall. Like, your face doesn't change. Your double chin doesn't go away just because you're not on video. Like, your excess 50 pounds of weight, it doesn't disappear when you walk into Walmart. Like, whoever you are, learn to be comfortable with who you are and learn to say whatever it is going to say. But when you start your videos, never start with, hey, that's immature. You start with, this is how I start all my videos. Welcome to Think, React, Lead. My name is Dom Faussette, your executive coach and leadership speaker. Why do I do that? I do that because I'm welcoming you to my company and tell you what it is. Think, React, Lead. My name, Dom Faussette. I don't say I'm Dom Faussette. I say my name is. Why? Because that's how we're taught in kindergarten. My name is, and you say your name, or on tags when you go to conferences. My name is. It's a very common thing, but it's simplified. I am so I'm authority positioning, executive coach and leadership speaker. So 2 years down the road, once they've watched 200 or 300 videos of mine, and somebody in a random conversation says, hey, I'm looking for a speaker for an event. Boom, I know a guy. I don't know him, but I've watched a lot of his videos. His name's Dom Faussette. He owns a company with Think React Lead. He's an executive coach, leadership speaker. But I've heard people walk up to me, hey, you're Dom Faussette, executive coach, leadership speaker with Think React Lead. That means they've watched a lot of my videos. And then you go into a bullet point. You spend about 20 to 30 seconds there. And today we're going to talk about A, B, and C. What I learned about A is this. What I learned about B is this. What I learned about C is that. My takeaway was implement A, B, and C in my business, and I'm able to leverage great results for myself and my clients. Hey, welcome, or once again, thank you very much for watching. Again, I'm Dom Faussette, your executive coach and leadership speaker with Think React Lead. And what that does is it bookends your video.
Okay.
You describe you name your company, yourself, and what you do in the beginning and on the end. But also what that does, if you do this every day, you get comfortable communicating. You get comfortable telling people what it is that you do. So when you go to a networking event and you're in person and people ask what you do, you don't have this long 5-minute drawn out. People forget what you say. Oh, I'm an executive coach and leadership speaker. I'm a radio show host here in town on 960 The Patriot, KKNT. Right. And so you leverage those seconds. People are like, oh, wow, like this dude really knows what he's talking about. And then you go into asking questions. So people that are uncomfortable, and that's the biggest problem that I see with people is that they either don't record videos or they do, and they're just stuck in their phone. They don't ever post them on social media. And once you get the reps in of doing that, you can start like your podcast. Your podcast should never be longer than, not yours, but somebody starting out, should never be longer than 7 to 10 minutes. Right. And the purpose of a podcast is not to interview people when you're your first, I'd say 50 episodes. It's just there to let you know what it is that you know. Like you start to hear the words coming out of your mouth, and then you begin to get comfortable with your voice. A lot of people are uncomfortable with their voice, and they're uncomfortable with their voice because the way that it sounds in their head is different than how it comes out. That's why they're uncomfortable with their voice. So just your voice isn't going to change for you ladies out there. If you sounded like myself or Jeff, like then you could be uncomfortable with your voice. Or if Jeff and I sounding like women, then we should be uncomfortable with our voice. But getting comfortable with who you are overall is the way that you're going to grow your business, and being consistent on all social media platforms. A lot of people, I had a client the other day, well, what's the ROI? What's the return of investment or on investment in doing videos? I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, you don't, half the stuff you do doesn't have an ROI. At least I know that there's thousands of videos out there of me. And my look today is the same that it was 5 years ago. So now when I'm doing Facebook ads, I'm using videos from 3 years ago. I look the exact same. So for those of you that like to change your hair color all the time, you confuse your audience. Stick to something. The reason why you're changing your hair color is because you have emotional things going on outside of your business that you don't know how to deal with, and you think that's going to bring some light into your world, and it does for a split second. But that goes to guys that buy cars all the time, or those that are buying houses or taking vacations and wondering why they're not fulfilled from the inside out, because you ain't done the work.
Yeah. And now tell me this. So one of the challenges I've seen, especially when it comes to businesses doing video, is they look for the magic message. They look for those magic words. Like you say, you just turn it on, you state who you are, you give the bullet points, you give your thought about it, and then you conclude. But they're thinking of, okay, so what do I say? What do I say? I need to say, this is this, and this is how this works, and this is how we benefit you, and this is what we are, what we do, and who we are. And it becomes to where it complicates in their head. What should I, basically let me sum it up. Basically, they're looking to put a commercial together for a social post. And it really confuses them, and they get frustrated because these kids come out and they do these little videos where they're dancing or they're singing or they're doing pranks or whatever, and they're getting all these vanity rewards. And so they're like, well, this kid has 100,000 followers, 100,000 views. We put out this well-polished stuff and it's not even getting anything. So, how did you get comfortable with, okay, like you said, when you first started, I'm gonna go in, put this camera in the truck, press record, start recording, and getting comfortable with just doing that over and over again versus I need to map out this basic storyboard for how I'm going to record this social post?
Two things. So I'm going to answer it backwards. The last question. How? My heart was in it.
Okay.
When your heart's in something, you don't have to think about it. Like, it was just one day I'm at work. I had two conversations the week before with two different employees about their phone. HR wouldn't back me up on it. So, because it was a new day and time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I really want to connect with my employees. How do I do it? And then it just hit me. I was like, you know what? They're on Instagram watching videos. Let me be some of the videos that they're going to watch. Right. I didn't think about what the sound, what it looked. No, my heart was in it. Like, I really wanted to change. I wanted to add value to my team, but they weren't listening to what I was telling them to do. So you can't beat them. Just join them. And then for those of you that ask, like, what do I talk about? So all you got to do is you've been in business long enough, create 10 of your 10 pain points that you solve. Just 10. Okay. 10. So I call them 10 client pain points. And whatever those pain points are, you write them down. Number one, number two, all the way to 10. And then you do a video. So for example, what's a pain point one of your clients have? Not one that you solve, but what's one that just one of your clients have?
One that they have is building clarity on who their audience is and what they provide to their audience. That's one pain point.
Okay, so that's a pain point. Gaining clarity, like how to gain clarity and how to advise your audience on what you provide. So I would do a video like this. Welcome to Think React Lead. My name is Dom Faussette, your executive coach and leadership speaker. How many of you struggle with advising people that watch your videos exactly what it is that you do, and then gaining clarity on what it is that you do? Well, today we're going to talk about those two things. One, to advise your audience on what it is that you do, all you have to do is just show them doing what you do. People love behind the scenes footage. People love to hear what it is that you do, not in a bragging way, but in a way that says, hey, I helped this client out the other day, and man, the joy I got from it was A, B, and C. And then as it relates to clarity, the more you hear what it is that you do, or maybe you're not sure, ask your past clients, hey, what was it that you took away from our business engagement, our business interaction? Your clients are the number one source for getting a lot of the information that you need to show others what it is that you do. Again, I'm Dom Faussette, your executive coach and leadership speaker. Have a fantastic day. So wow, that's
getting clipped. That's getting clipped.
and I tell people all the time, I don't need to know that your product to sell your product, right? Because I'm a user. Like I'm a user of a lot of products. So when somebody tells me what their product is, I'm like, okay, I have an idea what that is. Let's talk to it. So you write down your 10 pain points, and then every day or every other day, in the beginning, I'd say every day, do a video, 60-second video. What I just did was about 65 seconds, maybe 70, but do a 60-second video on the one pain point, right? And you don't always sell. It doesn't always have to be, the other day I was working with this client. No, it's like, this is how you build credibility. In your posting. I call it the I, me, us, we, you, yours. And what do I mean by that? In the beginning, you can't just come out and be like, what you need to do is this. No, like you got 2 posts on your Instagram, or you have 100 posts. You don't have authority in that space. So you start with I, me. One of the things I used to struggle with, not currently, don't talk about what you currently struggle with, but one of the things I used to struggle with was having crispness in my videos, from sound and video quality. As I began to do more videos, I would meet people that were also in the video space, but they're professional videographers. And then I learned the equipment that they're using, or I learned to use different settings on my iPhone. So and then I would start, stop there, because I'm just talking about me, I, me. Now, same thing, us, we. Some of the things that we struggle with are sound and video quality in our videos. And then we see the video and we don't even like the video. Now, I don't know about you, but one of the things I think we all should do is learn more about our phones. Most of you guys watching this are on an iPhone. There's so many free tools and tips that you can use. One of the things I started using was this. So maybe you struggle like I do. We all have our areas of opportunity. So let's do this thing together and make sure our next video sounds and looks great, right? I just did I, me, now I did us, we. Now I'm gonna do you, yours. I've watched some of your videos and your videos are garbage. And this is the reason why. You don't take time to understand the quality of either your phone or purchase the equipment that you need. If you're listening to this right now, it sounds very crisp. Why? Because I have a boom mic ahead of me. Why does my video look great? Because I learned the tech behind video. I'm utilizing a Sony a6400 and it's tapped into an Atom Mini Pro where I can switch between 4 different cameras that I have set up around my office. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights that allow me to zoom in. And the lens that I'm using is a Sigma prime lens, 16 millimeter f1.4. Now, am I a videographer or photographer? No, but because I know how powerful media and videos are, I learned that space. I took time to learn it so that I could bring you a quality product. So that's the difference between I, me, us, we, you, yours. And if you piggyback on those every time you post video 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3,
okay,
your audience won't feel like, man, this dude's just yelling at me all the time, or he's always pointing his finger in my chest. No, it's like they get to know you. And when people get to know you, like they'll meet you in person after a couple of years of seeing you, man, I just feel like I know you. But you make sure you're the same person on video that you are in the airport, in Target, at the, the event on CBS, NBC, podcast, radio, whatever it is, just be you.
Okay. Yeah, be authentic. Be the authentic you. And that is something that, like I say, is kind of de-educating yourself from what you've been taught up to this point. Because, before marketing was, I will manipulate you. I will give you these magic words. Remember back in the days, what was that show, Mad Men or something like that?
Yes.
And
yes.
We're just going to tell you this, and that's going to make a person that doesn't want what you have all of a sudden want what you have. And so a lot of people have approached marketing that way. But I say that's because before the internet, it was push marketing, because you only had commercials and ads in print. But now people have options and they can talk and give feedback and engage. So now it's more of a pull type of thing. It's not push in your face. So I think that's hard, especially with businesses, to get their head around that, because they're so used to doing it the old school way of, we'll beat you into submission. We're going to keep running this commercial until you all of a sudden, get thirsty for whatever we provide. So.
Oh, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I just started running Facebook ads, and I'm doing them locally. And I'm doing them locally because I'm a huge fan of building from the inside out, whether you're building up yourself or you're, bringing awareness to your brand. I'm in this for the long game. So yeah, people are going to see my videos, whether they want to or not. Watch them, but I'm gonna keep them short enough to where they will watch them. And creating a video sales letter, or it's called VSL in the industry, but that, like, you should utilize that when you're selling something. But every video that you do, it's not always selling. Sometimes you're just on there. And I would suggest anybody get a camera, a tripod, and a decent lav mic or boom mic, and just keep that in your go bag everywhere you go. The reason I have a radio show is because it looks better than having a podcast. And I'm not knocking podcasts, but when I walk into a room, it could be a room of 1,000 people. I'm always the only radio show host there. And my audience is like 33 and above. So they're like, oh, and they've never met a radio show host. And to them, they're like, yo, you're fascinating. It's just radio. Anybody can do radio. But what are you doing to push the envelope in your brand? I wouldn't even call it marketing, because when we start putting these words, I mean, you're a marketing specialist, but when you start putting these words in front of what it is that you just need to do, the stuff you need to do, it makes you not want to do it. Like, I grew up in the 80s. We didn't use words like authentic self. Like, I grew up in the hood. Be somebody else if you want to. I'm gonna knock your teeth out your mouth. Like, that's the way conversations were had with me. Like, I couldn't be anybody else but Dominic. If I tried to be anybody else, like, they're gonna show me, they're gonna put me back in my place, because I was a small dude at the time. So just be you. You gonna have good days, you gonna have great days, you gonna have bad days, right? But if you just self and just putting yourself out there, now don't overshare. Like, there's a way to do it. If you're going through some things, don't put the things on social media that you're currently going through. Talk about it once you've gone through it. Right? Don't scare your audience like, oh, he is crazy. No, don't do that. But and then so for me, I don't talk about race, religion, sports, or politics. Why? It doesn't put money in my pocket.
Yeah.
I don't talk about it. I'm an ex-black cop. Are there some things that I could talk about? Yeah, definitely. Am I going to? No. It doesn't align with my mission. Change one life every day for the rest of my life. I don't care what the life looks like.
Yeah.
I'm just making it change, right? So I think people need to get comfortable with starting to do videos and stop selling all the time. But then if you're going to be there, be there. If you're going to be on Instagram, be on Instagram. Your Instagram got shut down because Instagram was doing something crazy.
Man,
so you
I got to show you that photo. I really got to show you that photo.
But if you're going to be on LinkedIn, be on LinkedIn. If you're going to have a podcast, be there. And then start leveraging what you know. Y'all too old to not share the knowledge that you have that got you to where you're at. Because if you're just one footstep in front of somebody else, you know more than them, share it.
Yeah. And it's good that you said that everything doesn't have to be selling, because honestly, branding isn't selling, and branding isn't per se marketing. It's a component different than marketing. Marketing, you're developing a message. Selling is a total different department. But when you're branding, like you said, it's the long game. It's something that you're building that a person, like for instance, if you close your eyes right now and you think of drinking a soda, Coca-Cola's done so good of a job that red and white just pops in your head, and that's branding. Now, do they market? Yes. Do they sell? Yes. But their brand pretty much sells itself at this point. But that comes from years of consistent putting it out there to where you just automatically think about it. So that's very important, because a lot of times I think businesses and people confuse those three departments. They confuse the branding with marketing, and the marketing with selling, and they think it's all one thing, and it's not.
Right. There's a time and a place.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't started really selling until very, very recently. But I also knew that I'm in this for the long haul. And for me, I would rather build a brand. Like I use the phrase become the obvious choice. There's a course that I teach called Becoming the Obvious Choice, specific to branding. And when you have a bunch of videos out there, when you have a bunch of content out there, people just gravitate like, man, I've been wanting to, and I hear this, I've been wanting to work with you for a while. I'm like, okay, why didn't you call before, right? But like all my information's out there, but everywhere that they go, from my website to Instagram to where they see me on the news, they see me on my radio show, I video record everything. My Instagram story, like everything in the store, wherever I'm at, like, yo, this dude everywhere. And in the beginning, when you start doing these videos, you're going to think everybody in your industry is doing videos. I thought that. Not that I looked at them, but then after about a year, 2, they'll fall off. After about 3 years, the good ones fall off. Yeah. And he's like, yo, where's everybody at? Next thing you know, you're the man of the hour. You're the lady of the hour, right? So be consistent. Just be consistent. If you only want to use your podcast and you don't want to do any social media, that's cool. Just be consistent with the podcast.
Yeah.
Do it every day if you're going to just do the podcast. So there's so much power in consistency, but then also understanding creativity is what's going to get you far. I don't care what business you're in. From music to radio to television, it's everybody's always pushing the envelope in creativity. So be creative.
That's great advice. That's great advice. You have to be creative, be authentic to your brand, authentic to yourself, and consistent. Because consistency is something, like I said, that I've struggled with. That stop and go, especially with social media, like, you only get 15 seconds of fame. I mean, not even the 15 minutes, 15 seconds. And if you're not consistently in their face, all of a sudden you're forgotten. Yep. And it's very important. I love the point that you made when it came to putting your face on it, whether you want to or not. I was watching a show the other day, and it was real interesting. They were talking about Steve Jobs, and they were talking about Apple. And they said, when you see Steve Jobs, you automatically think about Apple. And when you see Apple, you automatically think about Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's true. But here's the thing. Steve Jobs also is associated with Pixar. Why do you not think of Steve Jobs and Pixar? And it's amazing because Pixar is huge too. It's not a small company. It's a huge company. But you never associate Steve Jobs and Pixar, even though he had a lot to do with Pixar's success.
Yeah.
But he branded himself in a way that you only think about him and Apple. Even when he wasn't at Apple, you think about him and Apple. And that comes with that personal brand. That comes with him doing such a great job with branding himself with Apple, that even though Apple had other CEOs, you don't even know, you can't even name them. You don't even know who they are. You know.
Cannot. Yeah. And it goes to being known for one or two things. And if you can be known for one thing, like I'm a speaker. People know I'm a speaker. They may not know what I coach, but they know I am a speaker. Yeah. I can get on stage in front of a couple thousand people and I can tell them what I coach, but they know I'm a speaker. Why? Because that's what I promote, it's what I talk about. But I also sound like one when I do my videos, right? Okay. I take that back. I've never really been, I stuttered for the first 21 years of my life. So actually from 6 to age of 20 is I stuttered. So I was trained in how to talk, but I also, this stuff is simple. You watch an infomercial and people talk like this on the infomercial. Why? Because they're trying to sell something, right? Yeah. And so anybody can play around and do that voice. On a podcast, they talk like this on a podcast. Why? Because they're a subject matter expert and they're not trying to yell in your ear. On radio, we talk like this because I don't have a video platform to show you who I am, but I can tell you I'm Dom Faussette, a 960 the Patriot KKNT, right? There's all the changes in your voice. That's branding. But people know one thing, Dom speaks. They don't even know I'm a voice actor. They don't even know that I need to act. They don't know that they don't have to know all these things. Yeah. So let your audience know you for a thing and they'll hire you. They'll pay you well for that one thing.
Great advice. Dom, thanks so much for sharing. I mean,
Sir, you're very welcome.
Keep it going. We can keep it going, but like you said, we want to keep it in a good amount of time. So it's been about 45 minutes. And perfect. I thank everybody that came on and stayed on because this is a lot of good information. If you dropped off early, you missed a lot of gems. So those that stayed to the end, I'm glad you stayed because you heard a lot of things that can help you with branding yourself as well as your business. And Dom, if they are looking to enroll in that course that you mentioned earlier, how can they do that?
I have some videos that I've done, some pre-recorded video training that I've done. And it's ridiculously cheap because once you record it, it's always there. But if you go to my Instagram at Dom Faussette, click on the link tree. What I got coming out next is Passion to Profit. So how to monetize your passion. So that's a live training that I'll be doing here in a couple of weeks. But you can find me, Dom Faussette, on any platform, domfaussette.com. Or if you want to shoot me a text, I mean, you can at 602-481-0650. I do have 359 unread text messages, but I do. It was 500. I do get to them.
Sounds good. And also the book, Think, React, Lead.
Find it on Amazon.
A copy, yes, on Amazon. And, hey, get out there, do it, be consistent with it, and let it pretty much evolve into what you want it to be, because that evolution doesn't happen unless you just start. So,
facts. Thank you for saying that.
Thanks so much, everyone, for coming on. Thank you, Dom, for being on. And, this is another marketing strategy session. I'm going to get my intro, outro together, Dom. I'm going to get the Mr. Marketology. What is it? Not I'm Mr. Marketology. Yeah, I'm Mr. Marketology, your marketing strategy specialist. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to get it.
Say it. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to say it. This is for everybody. Write it out. Mm-hmm. Say it. Okay. You might have to rewrite it because you don't like the way it sounds, but say it and then record it in your phone.
Okay.
And say it slower. Because I used to say, hey, welcome to Think, React, Lead. Like, what? Now I say, welcome to Think, React, Lead. Say it slow, record it in your phone, and listen to it.
Okay.
Listen to it about 20 times until you can say it without looking at your paper.
Okay. Basically,
And
a
this is for
program.
everybody. Yep. Exactly.
So that's our homework for today. That is our
Yes.
homework to get that going, so I can, let it roll off the tongue like I need to.
Yes, sir. You got it. You got
I
it.
used to be like, I'm Mr. Marketology, the smartest working man in grow business, but I'll add that in. I'll get it all perfected and don't overthink it. That's the biggest challenge.
And slow it down.
Yes.
All right.
Because when you're rushing it, it seems like you're trying to force something on somebody.
Too much. Exactly.
It's not natural. So cool. Well, tomorrow we'll have another marketing strategy session for you. And we thank you once again for listening. If you are looking to come out and work with any of us, feel free to reach out to Dom, or you can reach out to myself, Mr. Marketology, and the Marketology community. And we look forward to helping you grow your business.